I have one red box. Oh, I'm ready, right? It is 8 o'clock on April 9th. I am going to call the April meeting of the Town of Niskuna Public Works Committee meeting to order. Our first order of business is to review and approve the minutes. I'm going to make a motion to accept these minutes if there are not any additions or edits.
They look good to me.
Okay,
Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
so thank you, Kathy, on those. Kathy, we didn't do February last month because we
Right.
got them so late. So next month, can you give us February?
Yeah, I sent them out a while back, but I'll resend.
Yeah, please do. That would be great.
Yep.
Terrific. Okay, Matt, do you want to talk about what's going on out there in our COVID response?
Okay, so I just want to do a general summary of what we've been doing since everything has happened. The water and sewer maintenance and also the water plant and sewer plant are operating on alternating shifts to avoid and to limit or minimize the contact between two separate crews at each facility. In the event that one crew did test positive or have exposure, we still have one viable crew at each site. But it doesn't mean that they're not available when needed. In fact, we've had a couple of water breaks since everything started, and the guys have come in whenever called. But it's good having the crew here so they can get to the immediate emergency, get things stabilized, and then when the rest of the crew arrives, they can continue the work. I sent out a memo and met with each location, going over protocol we would like to see. I shared a copy of the memo a couple weeks ago, I think. There was an email going around between the departments. It's basically, wash your hands. If you're sick, don't come in. If you think you're exposed, don't come in. Contact your immediate supervisor. The crews are sanitizing their workspace every day. That includes vehicles. Anytime anyone uses a vehicle, the last thing they do at the end of the day is wipe down everything with sanitizing solution. They're also instructed that every time they enter our facility, from anything going to Lowe's, going to some other site, even going to different departments or even town hall, when they return, first thing they have to do is to wash their hands and sanitize. We have bottles of hand sanitizer spread throughout the building. We just received 4 gallons from the county, from the New York State supply of hand sanitizer, which was helpful because we started running low. We still have.
That's great. Thank you for securing that, Matt. You were just glossing over it, but I know that you and Josh and everyone were involved in getting that from the county. So thank you very much.
That was very helpful. We hadn't heard anything. So once I ran into somebody who works on it with us that is a member of Buchendall Fire Department, and they had received some. So once we knew it was available, the county was very helpful.
Great.
We have adequate supply of gloves still because our gloves are worn typically when we're dealing with sewer issues. So we stock those. As far as masks, we do have some masks because of certain activities that we do, road cuts, things that create dust. We have dust masks for the guys. But as of right now, we're relying on social distancing, the hand washing, hand sanitizing. The reduced staff allows us to spread people out. We're not sharing vehicles. Everyone drives in a separate vehicle. I know it does end up increasing the mileage on our fleet, but at this point, it's more important to have a viable crew than it is to save on fuel. We have scaled back our operations because of the COVID response. Certain things like flushing, hydrant flushing, which I mentioned down below, we're not doing right now for 2 reasons. One, when you flush, you could create an issue. You bring you put stress on the water system. So We don't want to cause emergencies if we can avoid them. And also flushing stirs up the water. And we rely on the fact that people are at work during the day so that the stirred up water is flushed before they turn their water on in their house and pull it into the house. But unfortunately, with people at home, that's causing a concern for us. If they were to turn the water on while we're flushing, they're going to get dirty water in the house. While it's not unsanitary, it's not very pleasant, and it can contain laundry and things like that. So we've postponed that. We're trying to minimize sewer washing and cleaning of our pump stations because there's still not good guidance from the CDC on the effect of aerosolizing the spray.
Yeah.
So we're trying to minimize that, and we're just maintaining right now so that everything is at the water plant, sewer plant, and the water and sewer systems is reliable. But our annual maintenance that we usually do, we've pushed off. And a big thing that we've held off on too is our prep work for highway paving, because we're still not sure what highway is going to do as far as their paving schedule. Last I checked with Ray, they had not started their work, and they had not had any plans. They don't know what their future is yet. So we don't want to go start chopping up roads, fixing. We have hundreds of manholes that need to be repaired prior to paving. They're fine as they are, but there's no reason we should leave them with new pavement over the top. I don't want to go in 2 years from now and cut open pavement because a manhole is settling. So we would fix that prior to that work. So that's a big unknown right now. The only problem that we have to keep in mind, though, is our maintenance that we're delaying. Once we start back up, and once highway starts back up, we're going to have our responsibility and also the assistance for the highway sort of competing for staff and for materials. So it's going to be an interesting summer.
Okay. So I just have a couple of questions. Maybe one of the people who are on this call from the supervisor's office can answer this. Who is responsible for getting these guys PPE? So they have their own masks from years ago? Or is the town secured any?
I'm not
This
sure.
is Supervisor Syed. We are in the process of setting up an Amazon business account in addition to the resources like the county and other the state. So that's
Yasmin,
something
you're
that we're
very
gonna
hard
be-
to hear.
Oh. Is this any better?
Yes,
It seems to
thank
be a little
you.
bit low. I don't know why. It might be my phone, but
I don't know. I log into this and it comes out differently every single time. So thank you very much.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
no, that's okay. If you can't hear me, just
No,
let
this
me
is
know.
great now. No, now it's perfect.
Gotcha. If I have a request from a department head that any of their staff need PPE, we'll be getting PPE for them, whether it's from the county, whether it's through an Amazon business account, and they prioritize municipalities, and, emergency responders, police departments, and essential type work.
Great.
So just
That
whichever
sounds
avenue
perfect.
we can come by it,
obviously, water and
we can
sewer
get it.
need it. So if we can get it for water and
Yep.
sewer right away, I mean, obviously Matt
Yep.
just mentioned, I mean, he was being polite and explaining what he was talking about aeros, however you say it, Rat. It's like
Yeah, the
aerosols, but
aerosols.
it's not, and it's gross. And, they're exposed
Yep.
to a lot of different things out there, and they are essential, those guys. So we don't have to
Absolutely.
like keep them home. So,
Yep.
thank you very much. That would be great. Matt, what do you feel you need besides masks? Do you need face shields?
Face shields
Will they
might
wear
be-
them? I mean, I don't,
Well, there more discussion needs to be had as far as the different tasks, because our normal safety goes through Charlie Brigami, and we identify risks, and then we have a safety plan that does identify the PPE for each potential risk. I'm getting different information from different sources. I was doing some research last night. CDC, American Public Works Association, the World Health Organization. They have a little varying takes on it. So I'd like to try to meet with Charlie possibly. I'm not sure who I would
I think you
meet
should
with
just
at the
make a
town.
list, Matt. I think these are extraordinary times. This isn't a normal June afternoon. So whatever
Okay.
you feel you need,
Okay.
please make that list and get that to us.
you,
Okay?
Denise.
No one is,
Can
Yeah.
I? Hi,
I love that. Asbestos.
good morning. I contacted Charlie Brigami earlier in the week. He is our safety officer and he wasn't really involved in this, and asked him if he could coordinate some town-wide purchases. I don't
That
know
would be
why we're
great.
doing this by department or people calling other people. There should be, in my opinion, we should be making mass purchases to our safety officer. He's reached
Yeah,
out
that
to a
would be
couple
great.
of our,
I think there should be a protocol in place and I don't see
Right.
why everyone's not getting masks.
right, and he, I didn't get an
We're saying
update.
that people work in supermarkets and other places need them because of the interface. I think everybody needs them. I think Michelle's office needs them. I think everyone needs
Right.
them. Whether or not Matt's team needs also face shields or gowns or something like that. I mean, they are dealing with some things that are now being identified as could transmit the virus. You know, they can make a list of what they need and run it, I guess, through Charlie if we can turn it around quickly enough. I mean, we're 3
If
weeks.
everybody read my memo from the other night, I asked that people let their department heads know and then let me know. And so I was already going to work with Charlie to have all of these purchases made. So it's not being done piecemeal. There's a clear directive. So Paul said to your
Right.
point, this isn't haphazard. It's not piecemeal. It's not department by department. It's a chain of command, and that's the chain of command.
Unfortunately, after your memo went out, I contacted Charlie and he was not in the loop.
He might
So,
not have been on that email, but that
he was
I
not
don't know what day
notified.
that was. But I
Okay,
have been
wasn't
talking
on
to
any
him.
email like that, Yasmin. So I'm sorry if I'm
Okay.
stepping into something, but I did not get that email.
Yeah, I
Um,
called him right away to make sure he was, working on your request and he had no knowledge.
Okay. All right. Well, we've got it now. So everybody has knowledge now. Thank you, Yasmin, for spearheading this.
You're welcome.
If we can just move along quickly, it doesn't seem like this is going to come to an end anytime soon. So, all right, great. Matt, how are you doing? Oh, you mentioned something about paving. So you didn't get an answer to that at the highway meeting that you attended yesterday?
Did you
I didn't
attend?
attend the highway meeting. I watched it on video.
Okay.
Uh, I directly texted Ray for an answer, but unless there was an update at that meeting, didn't watch the entire meeting. I was going through it, and it looked like most of it was Ray's part was pretty short, unless he said something as far as paving. Is he on this call? He was invited.
Who?
Ray?
I don't know. He should, right? I don't know.
With respect to paving, they're from
Yeah.
what we gathered from the meeting yesterday, they don't start really until the end of April. So we're just going to reevaluate April 29th. It's going to require, you can't do paving and maintain social distancing. So they're looking to DOT for guidance on how to do paving, which is considered an essential service, while doing best practices to avoid employees coming into place of contact. They thought that they might have to cut down of this
All right.
schedule.
Great. Thank you.
There's
Josh?
there's a lot of prep work that goes into preparing for the paving. We have to go out and measure, evaluate manholes, order materials. If I can't just say we got the green light and then 2 weeks later start paving. We need to know. And I know he's probably waiting to see how this all pans out, but
Right.
I know there's a list, and is there a prioritization on that list? If they don't get to everything this year, what are they going to do? That kind of stuff. That's helpful, and I'll reach out to Ray and try to get that information.
Great, Matt. Thank you very much.
He has been talking to Ricky and Tony as well, but I think that everyone's just in the holding pattern. So I understand the uncertainty. I just want to prepare people in case, if they all of a sudden get the green light to pave, there is going to be some delay.
So I'm just going to back up. Josh Hawley, did you have anything to say about sanitizing workstations?
I don't have anything to add at this time on that. It sounds like we covered everything pretty well.
Terrific. Thank you very much. All right, Matt, I'm going to move on to the next item.
Sorry, could I just note that there's going to be, the transfer station will be sanitized on Saturday? I talked to Matt Yetto about this. Matt, I don't know if you want to just update Councilwoman McGraw on the sanitation service that was hired
I,
for utilities.
yeah, sure. I was contacted by Alexis yesterday. They're going to be sanitizing town hall. I think everybody knows that. And then the transfer station and the water and sewer building and the plants as well. I think you're going to focus on the office space, not the large scale garage. And I know that you're going to be working, or they're going to be sanitizing each vehicle. You have all the detail as far as who is doing it.
Yeah, so it's KPW. It's a local OSHA certified disinfectant service where they come in and basically fog. It takes about an hour. They fog and then they wipe down. It's completely safe for documents. They specialize in cars and first responder vehicles, but they're doing since this transfer station opens on Saturday, we're going to do the transfer station and the town hall tonight together. Police station and highway on Saturday. Monday night, I've coordinated with Matt Yetta. They're going to go in after hours and do 26 cars, 3 vehicles, office space, and then Tuesday they'll do the water plant, the wastewater treatment plant, and the vehicles. So hopefully this will clean everything now, and then we'll do it again once we're open to the public.
Okay.
Thank you.
I have a quick question. We're in and out of our documents room. That's usually locked. Is that not going to be sanitized?
We can touch base after the call, but about where will be off limits. But I said not the basement, but they could definitely do that area if you want them to.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you. Matt, do you have anything on the staff update?
No, that other than so the COVID, I think we've covered that pretty well. Josh and I are still trying to find a person to fill an opening that we have here at the water and sewer engineering office. Hudson Valley is starting to get to the end of their semester, and we'd like to try to reach out and get some do some remote interviews like this type of video conference. I don't want to miss the opportunity.
Matt,
yeah,
I did call HVCC, one of the instructors, yesterday and talked to them and reiterated the request for them to share the job opportunity with their graduating students. So hopefully that'll generate some interest soon. But that I did have that conversation yesterday, so I'm waiting to see if we get any applicants from that conversation.
okay.
I know in the past we have put this job announcement out on the town email listserv. Things in your department, just simply because we have so many engineers in town and there's a genuine interest, especially for young people. So I don't know if you guys have your, whatever you've given to Hudson Valley, if you want to put out there, or you could see how you make out with Hudson Valley first. And then we could put it out there.
It's on the website. Do you want us to email blast it? Is that what you're?
For the
Okay.
position in your office, both of those engineer positions, yours and the other, we've put it out there on the town email blast in the past.
Okay.
And we've gotten leads. I mean, whether it's turned out to be the person, but we've certainly gotten leads.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay.
More advertisement for the position, the better, I think.
Yeah. It's a good job.
Yes, absolutely.
I think it was just the economy was too good at
Yeah.
back when we were trying to look before. Maybe
Just
things
a
have
few days
changed.
ago. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I know. The whole world.
Crazy how things change.
I think people
Yeah.
will jump at this job.
Okay, I'll jump into the attorney's items then.
Okay. Paul Briggs, are you going to take them? Paul Briggs is on the phone.
I saw Paul. Didn't I see Paul?
I
Did we
saw
lose
Paul.
him?
Paul
No,
Briggs.
Oh,
I'm
there he
here.
is. Okay,
I don't have the agenda, so what's the first item?
Okay. The first
Okay.
one is Myers.
That's on hold.
Okay.
okay.
The next one is our favorite one, Kubricki.
So I'm having ongoing discussions with Mr. Kubricki. We're not making much progress. It looks like that's going to end up in litigation.
Okay. Can you please explain the issue? Because it does seem that some folks are confused. I think what I understand this, and maybe I'm just confused, is all we're looking for from Tom is a bill, an itemized bill. Right?
So
We're
what
not disputing the 150 or, whatever that is. We're just looking for how we got to the 150, right?
He sent us a flat bill for $150,100. Matt repeatedly wrote to him requesting backup We asked for not only the number of hours his employees worked and their rates of pay, we also asked for a list of the equipment and the equipment rates and the time of the equipment and the material cost. He repeatedly has only sent us a blanket list of his employees for that week. They don't tell us,
Certified payroll, right?
but that doesn't tell us if they even worked on the Niskuna project.
Right.
He's never provided us with the time and what we call time and materials breakdown. We don't know his equipment or his
All right.
cost. He insists that there was an agreement that this be a flat rate job, which we've never done. So I've told him that we cannot pay any bill until we have the backup. He doesn't seem to want to accept that. He's repeatedly been calling the supervisor's office. They're redirecting him to me. I've had extensive discussions with him. He's sending out letters to the supervisors, letters to me. And it's at the point where we're at an impasse.
Okay.
He has not provided that material to support his bill.
Paul, there's one thing too that could have avoided all this. He waited over a year to bill us. And
Right.
that was with us almost weekly contacting him, asking to send us a bill.
Well,
And I
you were
think-
directed by the committee and you were directed by Sebesta to get in touch with them. I mean, it put Paul in a bad spot. It put everybody in a bad spot.
And I think if he hadn't waited so long, it would have been a lot easier for him to collect all this information and send it to us. But I think he's waited so long, that's why he's having trouble with it.
And I've explained to him, if he substantiates that bill, we'll pay it immediately. But he's to this point saying that it was a agreed handshake deal out on a job, and we owe him $150,100 without any backup.
All right. So once again, we are not disputing the amount of the money. We are just looking for the backup for when we get audited and somebody asks us what we spent $150,000 on, right?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much. Paul, the next item on your list is the city water bill update.
The city has had a different attorney, or what we call outside counsel, not the city's attorney's office handling this. That law firm has shut down. They closed. Longstanding law firm in Albany closed down after forever. And a new attorney the attorney that had that has gone to his new firm. He recently reached out to me and we're talking to him about that.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Your next one is possible Pierce Road sewer extension.
So I talked to Mr. O'Brien about, and I got a list of the homes concerned. Right now, my normal procedure would be going door to door,
Right.
but I'm holding off doing that for now. And I talked to Mr. O'Brien about that, and he understands that. We did this once before and we couldn't get to sufficient participation. So we've redefined the district, the extension, and hopefully that this will work if we were with a limited number of homes in the extension. We think we may have the 50%, but until I can go speak to people, we're on hold on that.
Okay. Thank you. Paul, that's all we have for you unless you have anything else for us.
I do not.
Okay.
I have
great.
one thing to ask a
Can I
question.
Okay. All right, everybody. So was that Yeto first? Oh, Josh
No,
Hawley.
Josh.
Hawley. Yeah.
Yeah. I know a while ago, with the Meppen minor subdivision, they had done some work on a sewer manhole that wasn't permitted or inspected, so they had to resolve that. And then I think there's an outstanding invoice. I don't know where that invoice stands with, whether it's us or with Laura's office. But I believe it was kicked to you, Briggs. I just wanted to bring it up just in case it is any involvement with us still. So I don't know if it was a TDE fee or if it was for our guys' time to inspect or what exactly it was. I'm not sure if you've been in contact with Laura or not.
Alexis, can you help with that?
Oh, I know. It's a TDE fee.
It is a TDE fee?
Yeah.
Okay. So
And
I look into it.
Okay.
I've been asking so it is a TDE fee, but they did do work for the town because they were inspecting on our behalf and the invoice is over 180 days old. I repeatedly asked the developer for money, and he refuses to give it to me. So I don't know. I've never had this happen before, but my thought is that the town pays it and then bills him, or file court action or something. But I would like to pay it. Alexis and Paul Sylvester are looking into it for me.
Okay. Paul
Why
Sebastian,
would
do you have anything to
we've
say?
never paid for these types of bills directly. It seems like it's between the contractor and the firm.
No, the town is the one that hires the TD and signs the contract and pays the invoices.
And we didn't collect enough upfront money from the developer?
Yeah, so unfortunately, and this does happen, the TDs are estimates, and their estimate of reviewing the manhole was X number, but then when they got out in the field, like I think Josh forgot to put something on there, and it took another hour. So like if not everything's done right, it takes a long time. In this situation, there's a lot of back and forth, there's a lot of review. It went over, but they were out in the field and they were doing the work and protecting the interests of the town. And now the developer is required by code to pay that fee, but he's not.
How much?
It's like
Great.
$600.
Okay. Sylvester, do you have anything else on that?
No,
Okay.
I don't know.
Thank
If we pay this, do we have the legal authority to put it on the levy, to re-levy it?
Yes.
Okay.
So is that your recommendation, Paul?
Yes.
Is it property maintenance levy? Paul Briggs, is that where it's coming?
It would fall under that general category, yes.
Okay, yeah, Laura, if you have the contract, we can look at it, just to be 100% sure that seems right.
Okay.
No, it can be done that way.
All right. So we're ready to
How
move
much,
forward on
how
that.
much is the bill for?
She just
So the
said,
total bill is $1,500. We have the total bill is like $1,400, and we have $780 in the account now, and so we're like 620 short, something like that.
So would someone send me the bill and the developer's name and telephone number, and I'll call them?
Okay, sounds good.
Get it resolved.
okay.
I will
Thank
do
you.
that.
Great. Thank you.
I had a question on the Pierce Road subdivision.
Sure. I
mean,
thought you might. Yes.
yeah, I just want to make sure when you say we're limiting the home served, that we are, all the homes that we're passing by are participating though, correct, Paul?
What's your question again?
All the you said you were limiting the area that we're serving. I just want to make sure that we're not including people that we are crossing their right of ways.
So if we extend the sewer line to the fifth house, the four in between have to be included.
Right. Okay. So I don't know how you're limiting it. So you're limiting the length of it? Is that what we're doing?
Josh can maybe help me on that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have the map directly in front of me, but we did knock off a couple houses that were, outside of the ends of the range of where we were going to reach. Part of the problem was the cost was too high for running because there's so much frontage on those properties that the cost per user was pretty high. So by restricting the area of the water or the sewer extension, we were able to get the cost down per user. So, but every house that does the sewer would cross in front of would have access and be in the district, and we would need the 50% volt from that service area.
Yeah, I just can't envision that large frontage that you're referring to, but that's okay.
Paul, it's the house. It's the two houses we're not including, I think, are the two past O'Brien going towards Route 7.
So the other,
Okay.
so it would be 6 and 7 in essence.
Right.
Sala Hub and across the street.
No,
Well-
The two on the same side as O'Brien, the two that
Okay.
are, the one way back and the one that's under construction.
Paul,
Okay.
the other change is also the past design had a different connection point to the existing sewer. It went to the north, where this one goes to the south, and so you're not fighting grade as much. So by limiting how far you go, you're taking advantage of some of the work that was done to the south, rather than going all the way to the north to the next manhole. So
Okay.
so there's less houses served. On the previous design, there was a longer stretch just to get to the connection point even before you
Yeah.
served houses.
That's true as well.
Okay, are we done with that? So Matt, for those playing along at home, we're gonna move to item number 4, was just the wastewater treatment plant.
Well, I
This
do have
item-
one. I'm sorry. I do have one last thing for Paul. It's item E.
Oh,
Is-
okay, I'm sorry, I thought we did that one. Oh, nope, we didn't. We were talking about Pierce Road. Yep, Cliff.
So 5 Cliff Street, Paul. I gave did I give you I gave you his number, right?
You gave me the name of a contractor that's gonna do the work.
No, that's the name of the owner.
Okay,
Well, it's the son of the owner. He's taking responsibility for the property. So he's dealing with the contractor. The contractor already disconnected the home from the city water, because this is that one that's fed from one side from the city and the other side from the town of Niskayuna. And they're going to connect to the town of Niskayuna water instead of going back to the city. And this would require the outside user.
so we're going to need a resolution to accept that outside user agreement at the next meeting.
Yes.
Right.
Okay. I'll have that
And
done.
he's very willing to go ahead and do this. So I'm confident he'd be able to get everything to you that you need as far as paperwork.
So is you said we're dealing with the son, is the father competent to sign a
No,
petition?
it's the father has passed away. The mother, I think, is in a nursing home.
So he's gonna have to,
Local though, so I don't know how they would do that, but he may have power. I don't know if power of attorney would matter.
No, that's fine. I'll just have to find out what the circumstances are.
Okay.
That'll be ready by the next meeting.
Thank you.
okay. So we're moving on to wastewater treatment plant. This is item number 4 of 10, and it's 25 to 9. Just want to let you know okay?
I can speed it up. Don't worry.
All right, we got bogged down on PPE in the beginning. It was my fault.
No problem. Okay, so just an update. The sludge dryer has been repaired. It is functioning. We took our first delivery of dried sludge to Johnstown yesterday. We're no longer relying on Albany landfill, and we have a much cheaper tipping fee and much less in the way of volume going to the
Didn't
so
we used to go to them?
yes.
Okay,
But because, our during the upgrade, the quality of the material being sent to them got so bad that they wouldn't accept it any longer. So now the quality of the material going to them is much better, and it's beneficial to them. It's beneficial to us. So that's why we get a cheaper rate, much cheaper.
great. That's good news.
Just an update on the pilot study.
Yeah.
Everything was submitted to DEC. I've been bouncing emails back and forth with Jamie Malcolm from DEC, and he's requested a phone call to discuss our future plans. I don't know why the data that we provided him wasn't enough, but they want to know what we're going to be doing in the future. I've reached out to Barton LaJudas because they prepared the document. I want them on the call as well. He's just asking questions as far as volume, what type of material we'll be accepting, and if it requires B&L to modify their submittal to them to give a little bit more detail. As far as I think we need to go.
Okay.
So
Does Paul Burns need to be on that call?
I don't think at this point. I think it's just technical in nature. We give them the information and see what they do with it.
Okay.
Is
Just
that,
make sure- Okay.
when is that scheduled for, Matt?
He wants to do it, try to do it this week. I'm trying to see if I can make it happen.
Okay, just make sure that Paul is in the loop. I think
Absolutely.
some of the
Yeah,
trouble that we have now is due to the fact that, this really was something that Paul and all the issues around wastewater treatment and overflow were Paul's, in Paul's bailiwick, and then it got pushed over to someone else, and now Paul is playing catch up on all of this, and maybe some of it wasn't handled the same way Paul would normally handle it. So, great, thank you.
So Matt, I need to be a part of that telephone call.
You need to be on the call?
Yes.
Okay,
okay.
great. I mean, he does know more about it than all of us. So, all right, terrific, Matt.
C is the contracts for high strength waste. Pending this pilot gets approved, which I don't see an issue why it wouldn't be. We just want to set ourselves up so that we can continue forward with the project as we originally planned. And I'd like to have I believe everybody's been in conversation with ESG. Like to move forward and put a resolution on for this month with to show the town's intent to do that, because that's the other question. We want to show to the vendors that we're ready to go, and we can't if we're not situated and set up for that.
Okay. And part of this is because we've kind of spooked Pepsi a little bit.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, Pepsi's not sending their product to us anymore. They have found cities been more amenable to taking their product at any time in any way they send it over. So that's going to be a problem going forward.
Okay. They don't want to read their names in the paper every day.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So Briggs, you're going to have that ready?
Yes. So, and the resolutions, I'll have to work with Alexis on that. We're going to have to word the resolution so that we can enter into these contracts as they are available, because according to ESG, once we're ready to go forward, they have a number of vendors or suppliers prepared to contract with us. So my recommendation is we do it so that the resolution gives the supervisor the authority to sign each of these contracts as they come in without a further resolution.
And so that no one is confused, I need Briggs back, is so no one is confused. The product that they're going to give us is similar to the Pepsi. It is food waste. It is not toxic. It is not, right? Matt, Paul, Briggs, somebody?
Yes, it's food grade material. Either what they call fog, fat, oil, grease, either from an industrial and like a commercial.
Commercial.
Can you hear me? I have some feedback. It's from food preparation, that type of commercial side byproduct, or expired food, or even in some cases material from cleaning grease traps and things like that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Matt, we can. If everybody could put themselves on mute, I don't know what the feedback is, but it's not great. All right. So Briggs, so we're good to go on that for a resolution?
Yes.
Okay.
Just a quick question, Paul Briggs.
Can everybody hear me? Sorry to
Yes.
jump in. So thank you. This is Supervisor Syed. So before we would vote on each contract as a specific contract for a specific type of organics as a town board, we're changing that now so that I am simply signing contracts. And why would we do that?
Well, we only had one contract before, so we didn't vote on multiple contracts. The only contract we voted on was Pepsi. And the reason why we do that is because we need the revenue, and we can't, if we have a vendor that wants to come in and they can start bringing our waste in, I don't think we want to wait 30 days until we can get a resolution signed. and lose 30 days of revenue. Because once this pilot project's approved, there's no reason for us to not enter into contracts as quickly as we can. And to
would
do
the
that,
contract be the same?
we can have a resolution that provides for you to do that.
Now, would I also have the authority to stipulate hours of delivery and the amount of trucks?
No, that's all got to be resolved in the initial resolution.
Okay, understood.
So just to clarify, it would be a form contract that would not change. The same terms would apply to all vendors. So the town board would have legal authority to authorize supervisor to sign it because they would have already reviewed it, but for the name of the person who's going to be delivering the product for Paulberg's.
Well, the only changes in the contract would be the cost. We would negotiate a different, may have a different cost per vendor or supplier, and there's also a blank on the contract that would tell us what they're providing and the quantity that they expect to provide. So those are the three variables: price, product, and quantity.
Yeah, but the material terms would remain the same. Sorry, Councilman McGraw.
No. So I think we're saying the same thing. We would put parameters around all of that within the initial resolution. This was not my idea. It was presented to me after maybe Laura's meeting last week and whatever we're doing in terms of the Energy Consortium.
Well, that was sort of the model we used.
Okay.
I know that we talked about having the supervisor sign a contract with the consortium depending on the range of the bid offer, because
Right.
because the bid process is going to be limited as to how long that bid is open for to accept.
Great. Okay, does everybody understand what Paul is proposing? And then Paul and Alexis are going to work on a resolution?
Yes.
We need to draft the contract, or is our ESG drafting it?
No, I've already done that.
Okay.
Great. All right, thank you. Is that all we have on that one, Matt?
Yes.
All right. So it seems like some people have the agenda and others don't. So the next item is an update on where you are at the project, Matt.
Project's mostly done. We're working with National Grid right now to get the generator tested and finalize all the agreements with them to make it happen. We're waiting for adequate supply of gas to do that, and we can't do that without the high strength waste. We had quite a bit of gas when Pepsi was still delivering, but they're not delivering right now. So we're on hold with that. The gravity thickener that was damaged a couple months ago from the ice and the issue with the shear pin, we finally have the parts being delivered next week, and the repair should be commencing on the 16th. No cost to the town. The supplier is picking it up. They realized that they made a mistake with the wrong shear pin, and they're absorbing all the costs. So we did have we had to issue a notice of noncompliance to DEC 2 weekends ago. Seasonal filamentous bacteria, which is a naturally occurring bacteria which tends to be active this time of year. Our chief plant operator identified the issue and started treating with chlorine. He didn't do it fast enough. Not his fault. It had to do with, I think, just very bad timing with the rainfall event right after he started treating for it. The problem with filamentous bacteria is it's lighter than the normal bacteria that we use for treatment, so it tends to float, and it's hard to get it to settle out. So during a rain event, we did exceed our permit for settling. So some of this lighter material did end up being let out through the effluent channel. It was disinfected. It wasn't an issue with that, but we still have to report that to DEC, and we've been in contact with Jamie Malcolm the entire time. The issue has been resolved. Jamie's been working with us, but because it was a variation from our permit, we do have to report that, which Keith did all the proper reporting for. Let's see what
Okay,
else.
Matt, thanks.
Do you want to go on to 5, the water plant?
Sure.
We need to hire a new water plant operator. Dan Galley is retiring at the end of this month. And I talked to Janet and requested a civil service description. Civil service is sort of staffed the same way we're staffing, the reduced staffing. So there may be a little bit of a delay getting that. And there is no current list, so we would have to hire provisionally. I'll find out more when I hear from Janet. Hopefully she'll get a response from the county. I'd like to try to replace Dan, and because in probably 1 or 2 months from now, we'll be losing the chief operator to retirement as well. So we can get by with less staffing, but not with two missing. So, and especially with the staggered staffing that we're doing right now, having 4 down there is helpful to get your 2 and 2.
And I have that civil service description in my office, and I can get you that today. I can actually do it from home.
That'd be
Okay.
great. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. All right, Matt.
Okay, utility billing. We've delayed the water bills. They tentatively plan to go out May 1st now. Chris has been working with the company that is doing our new online bill pay, Invoice Cloud. They're all set, ready to go. They had some minor tweaks they were doing this week as far as greetings and language options for the phone option as well. So you'll be able to pay your bill online, and you'll also be able to call a phone number and pay over the phone as well. This is something that's been in the works for over a year, but it's very useful in these times as well. I have a letter that it will be included in the water bill. It basically says that the rate was increased at the beginning of the year, that they customers won't see it now on this bill, but it will be reflected on their fall bill, just so that they're not surprised when they get their bill in the fall. I know the police had wanted to do an insert into the water bills. In the past, we had up to 2 or 3 sheets without any additional cost, but MailWorks is now only mailing. They're not taking loose paper and stuffing it in any longer. You have to provide them with the documents, and they print them themselves. So there is a cost now. So I just wanted to let the chief know that. I think it was going to be the mailer having to do with the alarms, Paul.
Yes, and it'd be much cheaper for them to do the upcharge than to obviously do a separate mailing. The only thing I would advise them of is that not everyone has water service, so they want to cross-check their list to make sure they don't need to send a separate letter out.
Okay.
So normally when we've done something like this in the past, the committee has seen what was going to go out. So can we get that, Matt?
Yeah, it's 90% done. I just have to finish it, and I'll provide that.
Okay, great. Thank you. You're 90% done with the police insert?
No, I'm sorry. I meant the letter.
Yeah, no, when other departments want to insert things in the water bill, we've always run it by the committee first. That's how
I'll request
I
that.
always get it.
Hey, Paul, the cost is 10 cents a sheet, just so you know.
So that'd be a general fund expense.
Okay. We'll have them bill, just show it as a separate line.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, and you're gonna get,
Yeah, I'll get it from the chief and then I'll share it.
okay, great. Thank you.
Item 7, water and sewer maintenance. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to hold off on flushing. I'd like to go ahead and purchase the valve exercising machine that was bonded for. They do have an option of purchasing through a cooperative, Paul. It's not one that I believe we've used before, but I sent the information to Alexis to look at by board. It's free to the town. It would help streamline the process. They sent
I'm
me.
not familiar with it, as long as it's legal.
I'm reviewing the contract now. I think that we might not be able to do them simultaneously at the same town board meeting, but we can try to, because in order to process the order, they first have to have the executed agreement. It has to go through town board, but we can work to see if they have any flexibility so that you don't have to wait for June.
I can wait if I have to. If you want to just do it that way, if it's simpler and I don't want to cause any issues.
Yeah, we can talk offline. I'll look into it and I'll contact them.
Okay, thank you. And then item C, another bonded expense is a portable sewer pump. I have a price for that. We're trying to confirm whether or not that is state contract price or not. If it isn't, and if I have to do bidding for it, I'm going to pull that and we'll do that next month. 8, finance committee or board action. I just put a list of mostly things above that require a board action just to make it easier for Alexis when compiling the resolutions. But Paul, is the franchise agreement with Spectrum. I don't know if there's any update or not. Just leave it on there.
No update. I believe they haven't reached out. I can reach out, but I think everything's kind of on hold until this is over.
Okay. B is the outside user agreement, Paul. C is the MOA for employees and for the rate of pay. Alexis, you were working with the union on that?
I think Josh Holly was working with them. I was never working with them directly. I kind of was just conduit for purposes of preparing the resolution. Last I heard, it was.
Who is speaking to Angelique then?
I haven't spoken. We spoke with her about the resolution that was tabled, the one that when you were out of the office, it had more parity between trainee and operator, and that one the union had voted no, so the town board had tabled that resolution. I haven't been.
So is this a Briggs issue? I mean,
I know that it was in discussion.
pardon me?
It was in discussion from last month even.
Okay.
I know it was brought up at last month's meeting.
Right. I thought we were gonna have a resolution on it, so I don't know. So does somebody have to talk to Angelique? I mean, Briggs is the person who interfaces with her, so.
I will talk to her.
Okay.
And do you have the proposed salary still prepared by Janet? Or has there been any changes, Matt or Josh?
We're not doing the proposed change to the fee schedule. It's just the language that basically says that somebody will not be harmed if it's mutually agreed upon between the town and the employee to take a different position at a lower pay, that they wouldn't take a pay cut. So it's just some language to kind of articulate that point and put it in an MOA is what we were looking for. So I'm not sure where that fell through, but it sounds like that language just needs to be drafted and then presented to both parties and refined and then ultimately voted on.
Okay. Not before.
Alexis?
I'll take care of it.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And then D was that resolution we spoke of about the high strength waste.
Okay. E?
Item E is a resolution to award a contract for the Mohawk Road Water Main Replacement Project. That's currently at the bid. Josh, what was the opening date on that? Is it the Tuesday before or the Friday before?
The Friday before the board meeting.
Okay.
Was.
So we'll have numbers on Monday before the meeting, and it's been a long process. We're hopefully at the end here, and with the economic climate, I'm hoping it will go in our favor as far as numbers go.
And this is essential construction.
Oh, absolutely. People on Walk Road would say so.
Yes, I just want to state it.
Yeah.
F is that resolution that I mentioned to Alexis earlier about the buy board. If we have to go and do that first and then make the purchase next month, we can do that. We will talk offline. G and H are just the two purchases that I mentioned as far as the valve machine and the portable sewer pump.
So, Sebesta, you're fine with purchases that were bonded. You want to hold off on cash purchases now?
I think that's wise.
These are bonded, so
Okay.
that's okay. I just want to make sure.
Bonded is, yeah, that's a done deal. We might as well.
Okay. Right,
Okay.
because we've got the money. We've got to do something with it. So, okay. Thank you.
For other departments, I have carryover from working on this in the past, the splash pad.
Yeah.
I'd like to keep some control on that project just because it was something I worked really hard on, and we worked really hard on. So I'd like to try to see it all the way to the end. There is money left over from the original bonding for that project, and we left it with 2 additional spaces for expansion. And I'd like to try to use that extra money to put 2 additional features in.
So, Matt, I think everybody's eager for you to move forward on that. So if you can, we've talked about what the features are. If you can move forward with that purchase, you have it,
Okay.
move forward with it. I don't think anybody's looking to take that project away from you. I mean, it is a water project, and there's no reason to. You've done a great job with it. But the one issue that keeps coming up, and I understand other committees discussed the splash pad yesterday, is this issue of disinfecting. Everybody's very concerned about that. So,
I emailed the company once again, and they have no recommendations for that type of disinfection because the disinfection is typically on the recycled water type because there's a lot of it's treated like a pool. But I did do some further research last night, and there are recommended methods for sanitizing pool decks, which we could modify and use. I don't know how elaborate we want to get because it is designed to drain. A lot of these are more for like the shallow pools where they say drain the pool every day, then sanitize. In this case, it's positively pitched so everything drains. So it's a dry surface as soon as the water's turned off. But I can provide some language, Paul. That would be.
Yeah, it may not need to be as frequent as the other circumstance. Just if we give them something,
yeah.
I think it'll just put this to bed. You know?
Right. I mean, we're disinfecting everything now. So why can't we just say whatever
Right.
our policy is going to be once a
Well,
week?
I think the one
month,
thing.
whatever.
Yeah, the one thing they did say, which makes sense, if it's foul, which is
Yeah.
a nice way to say if a diaper.
Yeah,
Like, oh,
exactly.
there's a procedure for that. So I would probably do that as a responsive procedure, and then
Matt, unfortunately, as disgusting as it is, you're going to have fouls going on probably all over the place daily. And I think you
I can
have to
tell you-
agree that there's some degree of contamination.
I can tell you though, from the first 3 months that it ran last year, we did not have an issue.
We
But
didn't have that issue at all, Paul, and believe me, I live with it all day, every day with the pool.
I'll come up with
Better safe than sorry.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree with you 100%. I mean, that's why I'm raising it again. I'm not, but I know it's hard when folks aren't over there or don't see these things.
But no one's there all the time, so you may not see it.
You don't know what I do all day long, Paul.
Okay.
I'll come up with the procedure, which includes a phone. We can even include it in the sign that Ray and I were working on. in the event that there's an issue, please call this number and that will be part of that.
That would be good. Sure. Just like that, I'm still in favor of a barrier between the splash pad and the road, whether, it's a split rail fence or some obstruction, but I know it hasn't been popular. I'm just throwing it out there again.
Okay.
Let's see, 10, the recycling center, transfer station, landfill, and former water and sewer site. We're setting it up so that the existing fuel pump will still function after the building is taken down. Our guys are working there today. They're finalizing a temporary power to that little pedestal area from the transfer station. And I did reach out to Charlie Bergami. He has contacted the New York State. We're trying to find out if we can temporarily relocate our 500-gallon diesel tank that's inside the water and sewer garage to the new site. That site, our new site is not set up to be able to do that on a long-term basis. We had to modify our stormwater plan to show that. So if we can get the state to allow us to temporarily use that diesel tank down at the new facility, that would help us so that we can get the building down and not have an issue of sharing the diesel tank at Highway. I know I think it was discussed at yesterday's the Highway meeting, and I don't think that it seems to be a viable option at this point. So we're going to see if the state will allow us to relocate our 500-gallon tank until that new diesel tank at Highway is fully functional. And the award was the contract was awarded to Northeast Petroleum to do that work, the new fueling system, but the lead time on the tanks and the equipment puts it out. I can ask Josh hey, Josh?
Yes, sorry, I had distracted for a second there.
No problem. What was the time frame on the diesel and the gas system being online? It was how many weeks?
I think we said it was. I'll have to look at the contract. It was about a few months. There's I think there was a 90-day delay in procurement of the tank. So we have to wait a few months before that even is available. And then there was a month and a half of construction before it's operational.
And we're constructing the pad internally.
Yeah, we're doing the pad and the conduits internally.
You're looking at 4 to 5 months, I'd say.
We'll do the pad and the conduit while the procurement timeline is going on, so that won't cause any delays. That'll run concurrent. But and I'm working on getting them to sign the agreement right now. They're compiling all the documents we need for the agreement to officially start the clocks. That way they can begin put in the order for the tanks.
If we can get the New York State DEC to allow us to temporarily relocate our 500-gallon tank, that would be it would give us some breathing room, because the last thing they're going to do in this contract is demo the existing tank at the old water and sewer garage. So we'll leave that active as long as possible.
Great.
So the diesel tank is separate from the gas tank, and that needs to go before the building comes down. So I had originally planned to share the one at Highway, but it doesn't seem to be an option at this point. So if we can try to reuse our tank, it's skid mounted, so it's physically possible to do. It's just whether or not the state will allow us to do it. It would be stored inside in an area with a floor drain that would drain to a sewer, not to the surrounding area, which is one thing that they'd like to see. But we avoided an even larger stormwater pond at the time of construction because we told them we weren't going to be fueling there. So but if this is only a temporary thing, and we'll see what the state would allow. because the end result is a much better system, a much more environmentally friendly system as well. Better containment and better spill protection, things like that. So there is an ultimate benefit to the state. What else? Denise, I left on there the transfer station open house. Right now, with everything going on, I still like to have it, but it would probably be later in the summer. What are your
I think
thoughts?
so too. Let's leave it on for next month and we'll have a better feel for where we are.
Okay, and
All
just an update. I'll do that, and just an update on the operation at the transfer station as well. We put in some social distancing protocols in place. There's signage now. The staff that are working there, they wear gloves. They limit their contact to the public. We're not, if it can be avoided, we're telling people to take their own, take their own garbage out of their own vehicle. We're not doing it for them like we've done in the past, just to limit exposure. And we've also set it up so that at any given time, only 2 vehicles are allowed inside the gates. And people are told to minimize their time outside of their vehicle. So we're not getting 4 or 5 vehicles showing up at once, and then you have these people congregating, and just to keep people safe. So we're still maintaining Saturday only hours though.
I've heard from a couple of people. One was very happy with the social distancing that you put in place there and communicating it to everybody and the widespread communication we've done around it. And I've also heard from a couple of seniors who were concerned because they do get some help over there, but it sounds like it says on an as needed basis, Matt.
It's a fine line. I don't want to get anybody sick, and seniors are the most vulnerable population. I guess we'd have to decide on what level of exposure we want to do. What's everybody's thoughts?
Could
right,
you suggest smaller containers that they may be able to handle, smaller bags or something that would help them be able to do self-serve?
I don't know. I don't know if some of those seniors can even care, the staff there has been carrying their stuff for years, right?
Do you want me to check on the
I want you to
on
check
what
with the staff and
staff
see how
are
last Saturday went.
comfortable with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ask them how last Saturday went. I don't think we're talking about 50 people. I think we're talking about less than 5. I think we all know who they are. They go every week.
That may generate a question as far as PPE. So I might be requesting some additional PPE.
Yeah, I
That's
think they
good.
would probably need it.
They're using gloves right now, but there may be some requests for masks at that point.
I think just give them masks. Why are we requesting it? They should be given masks.
Okay.
So.
That's all I have.
Matt, may I ask a question?
Sure.
How has anybody bought any of the punch cards there? I haven't seen anything come up on my bank account, so I guess it's not needed.
They are offering it, but I don't know as of right now. I think people are still planning to use the form.
Okay, yeah, the form is going really well.
Great. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. I think while the tablet's nice to have down there, I think once things have calmed down and we can get more face-to-face with the people and have a chance to talk to them, I think it would be even better. But because everyone's so nervous about contact, it's very limited right now. So a form is and I think it's more of a learning process too for the people there. But
do you need more forms? I can print you more forms and put them in the mailbox for you if you want.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, and Matt, if you want to write up something, we can talk about it.
I can.
Okay, great. All right. So, Kathy, I think I have everybody who was on the call or participated. I would like to point out that Josh Hawley has a lovely home. It's very nice there. I would go visit. And so, Kathy, do you need me? You want to call me back? You want me to just rattle this off? Everybody else can go. I will adjourn the meeting unless anybody has anything else.
No, other than the next date for the next meeting.
The 7th, when's finance next month? I don't even know anymore.
You want to try to do 7th at 8 o'clock?
Yeah.
The same method. We'll see.
We'll find out.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Kathy, you want to stay on for a sec?
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Yep.
Bye. Have a good day.
You too now. Thank you. So Kathy,
Yes.
I have Matt, Josh, Briggs, Sebesta, Michelle, Dan, Bactus, Alexis, Yasmin, and me.
Okay, perfect. Thank
Alrighty.
you, Denise.
I was
right.
thinking about it halfway through. I'm like, oh, she doesn't know these phone numbers.
Yeah, I got some of them, but
So-
thanks. That's great.
And are you just calling in or are you doing it?
I'm calling in. We tried
Okay.
to get my laptop working remotely, but we were having a difficulty.
Okay.
So I'm on the phone.
All right, sounds good. All right, well, thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too,
Thank
Denise.
you.
Bye now, Matt. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye, Matt.
Bye.
Turn it off now. Oh, I found it.